And we're talking everything going on at the Blank Park Zoo because there's so much activity at the Blank Park Zoo. And talk about being a busy place. Yesterday, boy, was it a buzz. Of course, the speaker series started yesterday for the year at the Blank Park Zoo.
They kicked off the speaker series and all about conservation. And I got to sit down and talk with Doug Tallamy. He's the professor at the University of Delaware, brilliant man, and talking about the things that we can be doing in our own yards to really make a difference. We need to help support the insect population, which we're not doing a very good job
really?
of.
So, I never would have expected that.
Some great stuff there, and that's where we can really have the most impact is just what we have. If we own a little bit of the earth, he says, we need to be responsible for it and be conscientious about what we're doing with it.
All right, so you guys, I'm sure you guys got along rather well.
I did. He gave me a few minutes while I was there yesterday, which was great. Doug, thanks for visiting with me. I've always been a big believer that I think, a lot of the changes and differences that we can make start at home, which has been kind of what you've been saying here today. And you are here to talk about how we can have a better relationship with nature in our own yards.
Right.
Talk about the importance of that.
We absolutely need to do that because we humans are now in so many places, and our yards are in so many places, that our natural areas that run the ecosystems that support us are too small and too fragmented. So we can't separate all the places where we live and we work and we play from ecosystem function. Our yards typically degrade local ecosystems. We have to turn that around so that they enhance them. And that's going to take a lot of work, a new way of thinking about what our yards are supposed to do.
And so what are some of the things that we can be doing in our own yards that will make a difference on those ecosystems?
Most of us have way too much lawn. Lawn is not ecosystem friendly. It degrades our watersheds. It's not supporting any food webs. It's not helping the pollinators. And it takes a lot of polluting effort to maintain them. So I talk about cutting the lawn in half. That's a good way to start. And you do that by adding other plants to your yard. So the lawn you keep, you're going to still mow, you're going to manicure, but you're going to have other plants, and it's easiest to start by adding trees.
Because I've talked to some people that have what's called naturalized lawns, and it's kind of wild and messy. So for the people that have those concerns, kind of how do you address that? That's
why I recommend if you're going to have lawn of any type, mow it and manicure it. Even a naturalized lawn, by design. It's a naturalized lawn is it's absorbing more water, but it's not helping the food webs, which is the most important thing we need to do. If we don't pass energy on from plants to other living things, then they disappear. And it's those species that run our ecosystems. So we're losing our bees, we're losing our birds because we're not paying attention to the plants that we put in our yards. And lawn, mowed or unmowed, is not going to do the job. And the plants that we should be planting should be native plants. Absolutely. And it's not because non-native plants are evil, it's because they have no evolutionary history in this country, which means they are unable to pass the energy they fix from the sun onto other things. Our insects are unable to eat most of them. And insects are the means by which most animals get the energy from plants. Most animals don't eat plants directly, they eat the insects that ate those plants. And that was a big emphasis on tonight, was about the decrease in the insect population. Right. Because we don't give that as much thought as we should. Right. There's a global concern about declining insect populations all over the world. And that's a concern because they are the little things that run the world. We and no other animal is going to exist on this planet without insects, so we have to pay attention to that. And what's the time turnaround if we do start doing a better job of planting the right things in our yards before we can kind of see regeneration of the insect population? Is it a long amount of time, a short time? Yeah, that's the great thing about insects. They do reproduce quickly, and they can build their populations quickly. We're starting to see success with the monarch, and it was down to 3% of what it should be, and now it's starting to build. So this is very doable. We can't wait till they're gone, because then they're not going to rebuild. But if we start soon and we have good colonizing populations, this can happen very quickly. Mm-hmm. What are some of the biggest obstacles people are having with getting a better kind of dynamic in their yards, do you find? You know, it's a different aesthetic. Having more plants in your yard and less lawn is a different aesthetic. A lot of people think that native plant landscaping is the absence of landscaping and it's going to be wild and messy and low class and you'll get thrown out of the neighborhood. We don't have to do it that way, and that's not what we're promoting. We want it to be neat. We're talking about changing the plant palette that you use. We're going to use a greater percentage of native plants, and we're going to use the very powerful plants that are best at promoting biodiversity, things like oaks and native cherries and willows and birches, hickories. Those are all very powerful plants.
And you have a resource for people that we can go and find out what are some of the best trees and grasses and things to grow in our area.
Go to the National Wildlife Federation website and look up Native Plant Finder. When it pops up, put in your zip code, and then the ranked lists of both woody plants and herbaceous plants will pop up for your county.
And you also talked about how this kind of puts conservation, the approach to conservation, in all of our hands versus just select areas and a select few, right?
That's right. There is a responsibility that comes with owning part of the earth. You have to take care of the earth. You know, I talk about all of the complex life that we know of, and the universe is right here in the biosphere, the thin film of life around the earth. And we've chopped that up into private land ownership. But if you're going to own part of that, now you have the responsibility of maintaining all the life in the universe. And I can't think of anything more awesome than that.
I think that's great. You had a great thing that you wrote on your website, I read somewhere, about gardening as though your life depends on it.
That's right. I sign every book that way.
And and I know a lot of people.
Well, gardening as if life in general depends on it. Your life does too, but
yes.
so does everything else.
Yes,
so.
Exactly. I know. I could
got along
talk to
famously.
him all day. Yeah, there's some great information. I learned a lot. And I'm already. I believe in all of that as well. I think it makes a big difference what we're doing in our own backyards. But there was some great stuff there that I wasn't aware of.
Did anything surprise you that he said? Any tips that he gave that it kind of caught you off guard a little bit?
He really focused on the caterpillar. Everybody talks about pollinators and all of that, but about the caterpillar and how to, maybe plant trees better and having things underneath so that the caterpillars have a place to, do their thing and we're not walking on them, and, having layered plantings. I talked about security lights, and how damaging those are to the moth population.
Security lights?
Security lights.
How?
Yeah, just by having them on, leaving them on, they just fly into them, and it's, there's a lot of great information. And you can go to, he has a website as well, bringing naturehome.net. You can visit there. He's got the Native Plant Finder on there, and the spring is coming, so go there and check out the Plant Finder. Get some. He talked about keystone plants that we can be planting in our yard, and it really does make a difference. And he talked about his own yard and how he's planted, and then how he's seen all of these different moths and butterflies, and so layered plantings and good information there. The series is fabulous, and they've got another speaker that's coming up in the first part of March, and that's Chip Taylor, and he's going to be focusing on butterflies.
Good.
So hopefully everybody takes advantage of going out. They had a great crowd yesterday and last night.
That is perfect.
It's just good information, and we can all make a difference. That's what's exciting.
So the zoo was all excited about the speaker series, conservation speaker series, kicking off last night, and rightfully so. But when you walked into the zoo, there was also something else, another buzz that was happening.
Oh yeah, they made that right before when they introduced, before Doug got introduced. They introduced this news, which was fun.
Because we learned yesterday, and it was made known to the general public, that Ayana, the rhino, the black rhino at the Blank Park Zoo, is preggers again.
And she's in like 3 weeks, correct?
Within the next month, as a matter of fact. So we had a chance to talk with Christina O'Donnell, and she's going to give you the skinny behind Ayana not being so skinny right now.
We are super excited that Ayana is actually expecting. February 25th is her expected due date. We are expecting a brand new baby rhino to be born here at Blank Park Zoo, and all the keepers are just extremely excited for it. So during Ayana's pregnancy, we've definitely seen a healthy weight increase, which is great, meaning that she is definitely eating more food for her baby to be nice and healthy. We've been doing some blood work on her, and that has been showing really good hormone levels. We've been doing ultrasounds with her voluntarily in our little chute over there, and that has shown some really good results as well. We've gotten to see little bits and glimpses of the baby, a fetus, and so everything's looking great. It looks like she's going to have a very healthy baby if all goes well, which looks like everything thus far has. So hopefully come February 25th or around that time, we'll have a nice healthy baby rhino. So right now we have 3 rhinos. We have Keanu, Ayana, and Tumani is the baby that they had about 2.5 years ago. So right now she is kind of being desensed right now, where she's hanging out with mom a little less than she normally would because she is part of the species survival plan. So there is a chance that she will have a recommendation to move to another zoo in the springtime. And so in order to get her ready to be away and live away from mom, we're having them spend their nights apart. We're having them spend a little bit less time together just because that kind of emulates what they would do in the wild.
How about that? Is that cool
exciting.
news?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
neat?
lots of great things
Can't
happening
believe
with the zoo.
Toonami is 2.5 years old already. I remember when that. So start thinking of names, folks, because we know the zoo is going to want your help in picking out a name for the brand new rhino, which could come as soon as the end of the month right here in Des Moines at the Blank Park Zoo. Very exciting news
Yeah,
from the
that
zoo.
is exciting. Good
Wonderful.
stuff going on.